Hello, I'm Kirk with AEG, and I'm going to show you how to assemble the Battleship from the second campaign of Dead Reckoning. The die cuts for the first printing had some issues, so we redesigned those cut lines to make assembly easier and much quicker. For this video, I was able to punch and assemble the ship in under 9 minutes, but don't feel the need to rush. Punch carefully so you don't tear any of the paper and slide parts together slowly, making sure everything is lined up. Let's get started. There are 2 boards to punch out for the ship itself. I use a dull nail file for my pocket knife to punch out the little chads, but they can be done with your fingernails in a pinch. I'm going to speed the punch out part of the video up a bit and get to the assembly section. We should all be experts at punching out board games by now. I'm sure you punched a few games in your day. Now that we are sufficiently punched, I'm going to grab the first 3 pieces for assembly. Yes, I did grab the square poop deck piece, but I realized it eventually and grabbed the foredeck soon enough. First, take the bow assembly piece and bend it on all the pre-cut creases. When all the creases are bent, it will look like this from the top. Now, grab the main hull piece and slide the bow into the front slot. The slots are wider now, but there is a little triangle tab in the middle of each slot that will give a little resistance at first, so put a little pressure to get past it. These little triangles are on all the slots and will help hold the pieces tight together once assembled. Watch now as I realize I have grabbed the poop deck instead of the foredeck. Maybe I subconsciously wanted to make sure I said poop deck more often. Anyway, fit the foredeck over the 4 tabs of the bow, and then slide the very front slot of the foredeck over the bowsprit, or the little pole thingy that juts out from the front of the bow. Next, find the piece labeled front sail and slide it down into the slot of the main hull piece just behind the bow assembly with the white text facing the front of the ship. Make sure the ends of the foredeck are folded in so that they will be tucked away. The tab of the foredeck does stick out a little bit, making the angle a little awkward, but you should be able to slide everything together with a little bit of effort. We'll now move on to step 3. Find the starboard side piece and notice how it has a wider slot and a skinnier slot. The wider slot will slide over the folded in piece of the bow and the front sail together, locking everything into place. Turn the ship over and with the bow in your left hand, slide the side piece's wider slot into place. Make sure the printed artwork is facing outward. Moving on to step 4. Find the port side piece, which will be the ramp that the cubes slide down, and fold it along the pre-cut crease. With the printed artwork side of the port side piece facing toward you and the bow of the ship in your left hand, note how the left slot of the port piece is also the wider slot. Slide that slot into place, fixing the bow and the front sail pieces together. This side did take a little extra coaxing and making sure all the slots were lined up, but it had a satisfying click when it all came together. For step 5, grab the piece labeled rear sail and with the white text facing the front of the ship, slide it in just behind the deck ramp. The 3 slots of the rear sail will slide into the slots of the starboard side, main hull, and port side pieces, holding them all together. Here, I do a last little check with my thumbs to make sure all the bottom pieces are flush. I'm going to skip the little sub-step 9 shown in the assembly graphic because I find it a little easier to assemble the rear quarterdeck as one piece first, then attach the whole thing to the ship. Moving on to step 6, we're going to find the rear quarterdeck piece and fold it on all the pre-cut creases. Then I'm going to take the poop deck from earlier and fold the quarterdeck around it, fitting the tabs into the slots. With the rear quarterdeck assembled, we're going to now attach it to the rear of the ship. This bottom slot will slide over the back of the hull piece in the middle. With that in place, you will angle the whole thing and work the little hook pieces on the sides into the slots of the rear sail to hold itself in place. Pay attention to the tab of the hull piece to make sure it lines up with the hole in the poop deck. Turn the whole ship around and check all the connection points to make sure all is fitting together nicely. Give little pushes where needed. Hang in there, we're almost done. For step 7, find the back sail colored piece and slide it into place into the starboard side of the slots of the front and rear sails. Note that this piece is symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way it slides in. This will hold the top of the ramp deck down when fully in place. Push both sides down until the top is flush with both sails. Grab the last piece, which are the final sails, and position the pointy side to the front of the ship. Slide its slots into the slots of the front and rear sails. Look around the whole assembly and check all the connections to make sure they are flush. Here I found that the foredeck had slipped up a little bit, so I just pushed it back into place. And there you have it, your battleship is assembled. Thanks for watching, and we hope you enjoy playing Dead Reckoning as much as we do.